Hi, everyone. It's Audrey, your local real estate agent in the Hearst area.
And Remi, your local real estate agent in the Kapuskasing area.
It's been a while, but we're happy to welcome you back to Two Realtors, One Mic.
As we're filming this today, we are the date of January the 24th because there's going to be a little things coming up that'll be affecting the market. So just so you know, as we're filming this, January the 24th. And to start off, I would just like to say happy birthday, Audrey. I know it's tomorrow, Saturday, January the 25th. But since I got you here live in studio with Julien and me, happy birthday.
Thank you.
So 18, 19 years old?
23.
23. There you go.
Still young.
And the other thing too, as people can see, is I'm actually wearing a Connor McDavid Edmonton Oilers jersey. So to start off, Shirley actually bought me this for Christmas. So thank you to my beautiful girlfriend for that. But you'll also see later on, we're going to talk about why I'm actually wearing it for the podcast.
Did she buy it for you with your money or hers?
No, she used her money. So that was. And did you have a good holiday?
I did. It was busy. I hosted 2 dinners and 1 brunch in the span of 48 hours. So New Year's Day, I was on my couch.
There you go. Us, Shirley's family came over. They were here for 4 days. It was really fun. But on the 27th, with everybody left there, they got 3 snoozes that day. There was time for me to catch up on my sleep. Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. So we're going to jump right into the podcast. And one thing we actually want to start off with is the potential tariffs that are coming up. By the time this gets aired, we'll probably know a little bit more for sure if they're active or not. They're talking about February the 1st. So we just wanted to kind of generally talk where we kind of might think this could affect the market. So with Trump now being the president of the United States and talking about that anything that gets imported to the States or that we're exporting from Canada imported to the States, I'll have a 25% tariff. It could affect the market. And we just wanted to kind of go in there and kind of see what the scenarios might be and where we think it might go.
Yeah, obviously this is all based on personal opinion. We don't have a crystal ball. We can't predict the future, but this is what we think might happen.
Going into the tariffs, one thing is, for example, like we have a lot of industries that we do export to the United States, like almost on a daily basis. I think we have almost $2 billion daily that gets exported to the States, which is almost 20% of everything that we produce in Canada goes like to the United States, which is a big chunk. Obviously, the auto industry is really big in that. Petroleum is also really big into that too. What it'll do is affect those industries directly if that happens. And then there's going to have to be, maybe some readjustments on how the companies strategize to actually sell those products to the United States. One thing that I'm already seeing is there's like the lumber industry in the province of Quebec. There's already 2 of them that there's 2 mills that are already shutting down because of that. Not because specifically of the tariffs, but that's already happening. So if there's like companies that are really on the bubble, it could greatly affect those industries. And if you're in a municipality and let's say, you have hundreds of your residents that are living there and those tariffs kick in and maybe it's layoffs, maybe it's a complete shutdown. Well, then if that industry shuts down, well, that's a major part of your community where those jobs are affected. And now those people have to find new jobs. And also what I'll do is the ripple effect of the real estate market also coming down where the houses are not moving. People are losing on their houses, especially if you bought your houses in the last few years and now you lost your job and now you got to sell your house. You're in a position where you might just have to give it back to the bank because you can't even make enough money to actually recuperate on your costs.
Yeah, unfortunately, that might be a reality to come. You have a mortgage to pay, and with the higher interest rates that we've been seeing this year and people that had to refinance post-COVID, they do have a higher mortgage payment, and they knew, like, not everyone can make that payment. Let's be honest, a lot of people have a $2,000, $3,000 mortgage, and if they lose an income, then that's a lot of money lost.
Yeah, we'll see too. Like, obviously, not to get into the whole government stuff, but the government can try to see how they can try to manage the tariffs with the states and how Canada can respond to that. February 1st, we'll see what President Trump decides to do. I know for Canadians, at the end of the day, for us, we want to work, with Americans, not against Americans, to try to get things done. But our government is going to try to look to do what's best also for Canada at the same time.
Yes, I do think that working with Americans for our country's sake anyways, can be very beneficial. It's just we need to leave that to the government to negotiate on our behalf and kind of trust that they have our best interests at heart. I'm not trying to create a big old controversy by saying that, but there's not much we can do here except kind of keep doing what we're doing and
Yeah.
just keeping a close eye on the news and seeing how it develops. Obviously, we will update if we have some more concrete updates eventually on the podcast.
Yeah.
Um, so that being said, we kind of want to follow up on what we talked about last podcast regarding interest rates.
Yes.
Because right now the outlook looks very positive for interest rates in Canada for the upcoming year. Again, with these tariffs coming into play, we don't know if the predictions will be right or not. But for now, we're very optimistic.
The last podcast we had, we were talking about that there's going to be another cut in the rate in December 11th. That cut has now happened. So now the interest rate is at 3.25%. So just over the 3%. There's going to be about 8 more cuts over the year of 2025. Now, it could go almost as low as 2% by the end of 2025. 2% is very low. I don't know if we're going to get to that point. And again, these are all projections. There's still economists that are looking into these things. But right now we're at 3.25%. So when the first one comes in at the end of January, we might be falling at 3%, which is good. The other interesting that's cool with that is that I actually have to remortgage this year. So if those rates are at the 3 or below the 3, it'll be good for me for my personal
Well, you'll have
mortgage.
a similar rate to what you had probably when
Yeah.
what you have right now, which is great.
Yeah.
Not everyone was that lucky, but I know a lot of people who renewed last year kind of locked in for 1 or 2 years. So for
Exactly.
those people that are going to be up to term this summer, that might be very, very positive.
One of the good things is that in December of 2024, Canada created 91,000 new jobs. So the unemployment rate went down and the employment rate went up, which is fantastic. The other thing too is as much as inflation, inflation is always going to go up, but it's for it to go up moderately. And what they're also projecting and even talking with also these tariffs, they're still figuring that the inflation rate will be somewhere maybe between the 1 and the 3%. It's like normal progression. That's what is also going to encourage to be able to bring down the interest rates, where people can still borrow money, not overspend, but be able to afford. Again, a lot of things that are still we're not able to predict 100% what's going to happen, but everybody is trying their best to try to see where this is all going to go. Once we get into February, a lot of things are going to help determine where it might flow. But overall, for the year 2025, we do anticipate that the interest rates are not going to go up. They're going to either stay stagnant or go down, which is good, which will put everybody in a good position.
As long as it's a mostly normal scenario where there's not a lot of spikes or a lot of downfalls, like right before COVID, it was a big downfall of the interest rates.
Yeah.
That's what created the woo craziness.
Yeah.
So, and then last year was a very big spike, and that's what also create craziness. So, if the people can have a little bit of just normalcy with the interest rates, I think it's going to be
Yeah.
great. That being said, we don't know what's going to happen, but we do know what happened in 2024. We got our stats back. We know what happened in our markets. Let's jump at the dose, shall we?
Yes.
So for the Timmins, Cochrane, and Timiskaming districts, so all the districts that our boards cover, we have some surprising stats. The total number of sales was up by only 3%, which I would have thought would have been higher because I feel like I saw a lot of sales happening, but it's still up and not down for most people. And the average price is up 10%, which is promising for the general market. However, if we go down into our own area, so I'm going to talk about Hearst. So I said in a few podcasts where my market felt like it was slower. And when you're in it, sometimes it feels slow and you don't know. But looking at these stats, I kind of had okay, yeah, it was a slower market. We didn't have the best year. It's okay. Interest rates were high. I know like our living costs did go up quite a bit rapidly in Hearst. So for our sales activity for the entire year, we were down 15% from
Wow.
last year.
Yeah, that is a big drop.
So a lot of people said, oh, the market's slower. It definitely is slower and a lot less sales are happening, which, hey, it's part of the job. It's part of the real estate world. There will always be ups and downs. It does suck for the sellers that still have like a clear picture of the COVID market in their mind, which is what we have to deal with is, oh my God, my friend sold her house in 2 days and it sold over asking and now we're not seeing that. Furthermore, the house prices, the average sale price for a residential home has gone down 6%. It will always fluctuate. Housing prices will fluctuate. Hearst had a big boom. Like our home prices, as you know, were already higher than cap before COVID. Then COVID happened and then it skyrocketed. And I think now we're just seeing a little bit of balance coming back to the market because it can't keep going up always.
Yeah.
Like, eventually, if we have $1 million homes in Hearst, it's never going to work.
Yeah.
So it's okay that it fluctuates. It's just maybe a little disappointing to see.
And you want to see, you do want to see good numbers, you do want to see growth, but you also want to be realistic where the numbers need to reflect where if they're so high, eventually that's going to burst, right? Which we also saw with COVID, right? So it is important, yes, it is nice when you do have those higher numbers, but you also want it to be realistic. So for Kapuskasing, actually, the sales activities for all of 2024 were actually 10% higher than 2023. So we had a really active market in Kapuskasing for 2024. And it was really interesting because now that I sit here, looking at the stats, talking about the numbers, I can personally tell you I was a very busy agent in 2024. And sometimes you're there and you're kind of standing back and you're like, okay, is it just me or is it other agents? You're trying to reflect. But when you sit down and you look at the numbers for the area in general, you can see Kapuskasing was really, really active. And also looking at the house prices in Cap, the average price for 2024 finished at $250,000 is the average house price. Now, do I anticipate that that's going to go up? I don't think that it would be sustainable to do that every year. If we can get somewhere to a 2 to 5%, those are good numbers. And if we're even talking about Canada in general, and when you're talking about just like the cost of living and everything, usually the rate is 2%. It was a really good year for the Kapuskasing area for
Yeah.
2024.
When you're looking at the district stats compared to the Kapuskasing stats, you can tell that I think Kapuskasing had one of the best years in comparison to the average district.
Yeah,
So that's really, really fun for you.
yeah,
And this is also just residential stats. And I know you've been quite busy also with commercial in Cap this past year. So
yeah.
that's also promising just for the town itself to have more commercial opportunities moving.
It was a very special year doing a lot of the commercial deals that I did. I think I did 4 or 5, which somebody might say that doesn't sound like a big number, but there's not a lot of commercial real estate that usually gets done. So if you can do 4 or 5 a year there, for the commercial side, it's a pretty good year for that.
Yeah, so it's exciting for Kapuskasing.
Yeah.
It's really good for the buyers to hear this. I'm excited to see what it has in store.
They are anticipating that 2025 is going to be a little bit more of a seller's market. Obviously, once we get into the springtime, that's usually when we get a little bit more activity. Looking at numbers wise, I do anticipate the average house price for all of Canada is going to go up a few percentage, like it's been doing over the last few years. We do anticipate that to keep going, especially where they're seeing where the economy is going to be. Again, as we mentioned earlier in the podcast, there's going to be some curveball here and there. But in general, for all of Canada, the average house price is going to go up. I think they're thinking about almost having like 550,000 up to that number of transactions that are going to happen this year. And I think the average house price will fall somewhere close to 745,000 once we hit the end of 2025.
Just kind of going back, circling back to the tariffs, these could impact these numbers, obviously. But for now, it's a promising outlook and we'll take it.
Yes.
And then going into 2025, I've seen a good shift in my market. I've been a little bit busier, more showings, more buyers showing interest in properties, which is very promising for us because we've been kind of stagnant for a few months. I think Hearst is going to pick a little bit back up. I'm not saying we're going to be up 20%, but if we can maybe be up by 5 or 6%, kind of even out those numbers, I'd be really, really happy.
For the Kapuskasing area, like looking at the numbers that we had in 2024, these are really good numbers for Cap that we had in 2024. If we can have somewhat close to that, I think it'll be good. I don't think that having 10% every year is sustainable. I do anticipate having it still a busy. My phone is still ringing. I've already started working on a few listings. I've already started doing a few sales. So I think it'll still be an active market for 2025 in the Cap area.
Good, because compared to January last year, for me anyways, I already have more listings in my uh focus that
Yeah.
I'm working on than I did last year. So it's a good start. So that being said, saying we're busy, let's move into our featured listing. So for my listing, I'm going to be talking about 1317 Alexandra Street. I'm not going to say that in the long form. I will butcher the number. I already know it. It's a very nice house. It's a 5 bedroom, 2 bathroom house. It sits like perfectly located in town. 2 minutes from the grocery store, 2 minutes from the arena, from the schools. Nice big yard. That street has the biggest lots in town. The house itself is all on hardwood floors. It's been fully renovated in 96 and 97, but very well maintained. Like the whole insulation has been done, the piping, so it's fairly new, even though the house is slightly older. One fun thing about that house is it's a wood foundation, which not a lot of people are familiar with. I love wooden foundations. I think they're the best ones out there. That's my personal opinion. Um, Not at all a general contractor or building inspector who can say it's actually a fact, but I do think it's a very well done foundation. The house is still leveled, so we'll take it. Nice big double garage. The house is just honestly beautiful.
Well, I'm hoping for your buyer that's going to buy it. It sounds like it's going to be a really exciting, nice house for them to move into.
They can move into it tomorrow if they want.
Oh
It's
my God.
empty too,
I'll
so
give Audrey a call, book your
please
viewing
do.
today, and go check that out. And before I jump into mine, yeah, talking about wood foundations, I've actually noticed some of the newer houses in Kapuskasing, they're getting built that way now. Obviously, pressure treated foundations there. So really interesting stuff. And I guess too, like a few things, like there's a little bit more flexibility, I guess, to it there compared to like if you have a cement foundation. Obviously, that's not moving, but the thing with the cement is that if ever it gives, it cracks and it breaks, right? So I'm still not too familiar with them, so I'm those types of foundations. I won't get into too much of like the wood foundation, but I have noticed a lot of people doing new builds. They go with the wood
It's
foundation.
gaining traction a lot, and it's honestly, I've talked to a few contractors that I know, and all of them say if I were to build a house, I would do a wood foundation.
But obviously, if ever you're going to build a house, make sure to do your due diligence and check that out. If ever that's something of a foundation you that interests you. So for my listing that I'm going to talk about is 99 Lafave Peninsula on Remi Lake in Moonbeam. Great name for a lake, right? Remi Lake, love it. So, so the thing that's really nice about this property, it's actually a two parcel. So there's the waterfront parcel that actually has the house on it, and also the garage. It's got a bunkie house. It's got a sauna. All exterior cedar finish. Very beautiful. And also a section of the house in 2010, 2011, they actually did an addition to it. So on the main floor, let's say you're a senior resident and everything, all your necessities, your amenities, all on the main floor. So you got your master bedroom there, you got your bathroom there, washer and dryer, everything you need there. It's got a few different options for heating, but one that's amazing is the wood stove that they got installed when they did the addition. It is phenomenal. Julian was with me the other day when we worked on the listing, and the only way that they actually heat the house presently, even though they have other options, is using the wood stove. So you get in there, it's nice, it's hot, it's dry because the heat from the wood stove takes out the humidity. So just sitting by that wood stove is phenomenal. So that's great for that. And again, you're on a waterfront property, on Remi Lake. Yeah. And the beach is actually pretty nice too. Like there's a retaining wall right at the beach, but after that, I didn't go swim in it. I did have a look at it.
Oh, you didn't want to do an ice dip?
But I actually went to look at, worked on the listing a little bit before we actually had the winter. So I got to see the beach. It was really nice property. And the other thing that's nice about it too is again, you do have that other side of the property. So right now it's beautiful. They do, have like a little gazebo there. They have a temple garage. They have some raised gardens. So very, very beautiful place to be at the lake and just enjoy the cottage life. So if ever you're interested to come and see that property, year-round home on Remi Lake, give me a call.
Sounds like a dream.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Remi Lake is pretty high demand and you don't often get a lot of places for sale. I feel like the past few years, maybe more, but
Yeah.
people tend to hold on to them. So
Yeah.
don't wait.
Yeah. Well, the big thing I saw too with Remi Lake is I actually do find like in 2024, even though here we are, we're talking about like market numbers and like in the general area, the numbers have went up. I would actually say Remi Lake, the prices kind of went down. So if somebody is actually looking to move at Remi Lake, the prices are more affordable now than they were previously, I would say. Yeah. Yeah. So again, if that cottage interests you, give me a call. I'll be more than happy to show it to you, make a sale happen.
We just want to sell places, you know? We want our clients to be happy. We are also kind of happy and kind of achieving some stuff. We both have some pretty big personal achievements that went down since the last time we did a podcast.
Yeah.
Starting off is you were on a top producer panel recently.
Our office, Remax Crown, hosted we called it a 2025 kickoff. Our amazing broker of record, Mercer Arnold, had all these amazing guests to come and be part of the panel. A lot of people that not just people from our firm, but she had invited people from all over the place to come
Yeah, a lot
and
of agents I knew from Vancouver were there on Zoom,
yeah,
so
yeah, it was really cool. Really happy I was able to attend that, and me and two other agents were actually be able to present at the panel. So we were sitting down. We had somebody from corporate that was asking us a series of questions and just basically asking us how did we do so well doing what we do. Me being from a small town, I kind of went into a little bit more of that. Those were the questions a little bit more pertaining to me.
But it's very impressive that you were on a top producer panel coming from such a small market.
It was a really nice experience to do, and especially doing with the other amazing realtors that were there with me. I really enjoyed it. And the other thing I always like too to going to those things, I find it really important, is because it gets you out of your bubble, right? You go to those things, you end up chatting with other realtors, other agents, kind of seeing what they're doing differently in their industry. It's always really important, I find, to especially to help you grow as a realtor. So I was really, really happy and proud that I could be part of that. It was really a fun experience.
You did a great job.
Thanks. And for Audrey, well, congratulations to you. Now you're part of the Timmins Board Real Estate.
Yes, I am part of the board of directors for TICDAR, as we say it, the abbreviated way, because it's a long name. Um, I was sworn in November.
Okay.
It's been amazing since. I haven't had a meeting yet. We're gonna have our first meeting next week. I'm really excited to see how that goes. This is all new for me, but I think it's gonna let me learn other aspects of the job. So selling, buying, talking to clients, I do that on a daily. But this is kind of seeing more of like what's going on behind the scenes, the rules, the regulations, kind of learning everything that goes on that makes our job, which is great. Speaking of, I did have to change my lock boxes.
Oh, there you go.
So I put in the Tignar lock boxes, but that's been fun. I was meant to go to Toronto on January 15th for
Oh, yeah.
Aurea Peak for a conference.
What happened there?
It was not fun. It's funny now. So I'll just kind of rewind. So 2 months ago, I lost my spare set of keys for my car. Me like, oh, whatever, it's not a big deal. I got another set. I'm sure it won't cause me issues because it's still pretty expensive to get a new one. I was like, whatever. Um, Fast forward to January 15th at 5:30 in the morning. It was a big deal. So I loaded the car, um, then closed my trunk, went into the front, started the car because it was just remote started. It was a very cold day. And then I closed my door, went to go grab my broom to take the snow off my car. To my surprise, my door is locked, but it was unlocked when I got into the car and out of the car. So my car locked itself. I don't know how it happened. The keys were inside the car, and I didn't have a spare set of keys. Destroy my house looking for my spare set of keys. I'm like, they have to be somewhere. They were not somewhere. I woke up Max, and at 5:45 in the morning, he goes, "What the is going on?" Like, I'm locked out of my car. I'm going to miss my flight. So he tried shimmying the door and like pushing the button. It didn't work. Anyways, I called the tow truck company. They didn't show up until 11. Mind you, the car was running the entire time. So when they did show up, it was a sauna in there. Did not catch a flight. Stayed home. That was a hell of an experience. Deep down inside, there's a reason why it happened.
Mm.
Like, there's a reason why 2 months ago I lost a spare set of keys and then I got locked out of the car miraculously because new cars don't lock when there's keys inside. It was just, oh God, was it chaotic.
Oh my God. And not long before that, a few months ago, you actually, did you miss the flight when you were in Toronto, or was it just
It
canceled?
was just delayed.
It was delayed.
It was
Okay.
delayed. I did not miss any other flights. This is the first time ever in my life.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough that I didn't get a full reimbursement, but I did get a credit,
Mm.
which is surprising, from Air Canada. So I'll take it. So that's how my experience on the board of directors started.
Well, again, Audrey, congratulations being part of the board. And the good thing too is because of our working relationship, if ever I have some issues, I can just call Audrey directly and tell her, "Hey, Audrey, can you fix this in our system, or kind of pull some strings here now that you're part of the board?" So yeah, so that's for me. That's great. That's well. Anyways, you got my vote. That's for sure. I made sure that I voted for you when the time came. Not that you're supposed to make your votes public, but I don't care. I voted for Audrey.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So let's talk about other things. So there's what we call the R4.
Vegas, baby.
In Vegas, baby. Yeah, that's right. So there's a conference in Las Vegas. I've always wanted to attend. Now, having said that, I'm not saying that I will attend. I'm strongly considering it. It would be fun. And the main reason I want to go there is I always want to see like what's new in real estate. Like, what have I not seen yet? And everybody keeps telling me, well, Remi, if you really see the new latest technology and latest trends that are going into real estate, you got to attend the R4 in Las Vegas, which will be at the end of February. Our broker of record, Marissa Arnold, is actually going to be a speaker there. So that's really cool.
So
And
cool.
trust me, she's really interesting to listen to. She's an amazing talker. So for whoever is going to attend that in Vegas, they're going to find that pretty cool. There's actually the co-founder of Netflix. I was also once the CEO. I forget his name though.
Mark Randolph.
Mark Randolph. So he's going to be there also. So he's going to do a presentation. I do like Netflix. I'm a big movie buff guy. I love shows and everything. I find Netflix, for example, they've changed my perception on documentaries because once they started making documentaries, I was like, man, they're so good. And the other thing too is the band that's going to be playing live is One Republic. So that'd be pretty cool to see. I was actually listening to their music for the last week. They were just kind of getting into it, trying to encourage me to be like, okay, well, if I go to Las Vegas, I get to see One Republic
Yeah,
play
I'm
live.
sad. Last year was Thomas Rhett. I
Yeah.
should have gone then.
Yeah.
I will not be able to make it this year, which
Mm.
I wish I could because again, like you said, Marissa is going to be speaking. Also, I missed Marissa getting an award when I missed my flight. So I would very much like to see her being a badass bitch, but I won't see her in Vegas. I'll try to find a recording. But if you are an R4, whoever you are, definitely make time to go see them. And yeah, Roan Republic's pretty cool still. Like it's
Yeah.
pretty big names in music that do concerts for that event. So
Oh yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
big plus.
It'll be interesting. So now to move on, obviously talking about where we think the market's going to go in 2025. Me and Audrey also have, as realtors, we strategize and we plan on like how are we going to attack every year differently. So we're going to talk about what our goals and our plans are for 2025 to make sure that we're giving proper client service to everybody in our areas and that we're doing what we're supposed to do sales. So for me, the big thing that I've actually started to tackle on my main concentration is obviously I do want to give the best customer service as possible. What 2024 made me really open my eyes is that look, I'm at a stage that even though COVID era is done, I'm going to be busy. Like not all the time, but there's especially when we get into the spring, it's almost like you have no life, right? So the big thing I wanted to do is like what we like to see the work life balance, right? For 2025, I'm bringing on Julien Boucher, again, our amazing director that's helping us do these podcasts. He's going to work with me even more directly now. He's going to do a lot of my pictures and my videos. I brought also an assistant, Julie. So she's been working with me for a few months and it's been freeing me up on a lot of things where I can concentrate even more now on my sales with my clients, talking with people, and also having a little bit more time to breathe, kind of go out there, take some fresh air, have a walk. So it's really working with that team for 2025. I'm looking forward to. So that's my main concentration. Having those people on board will make a massive difference. And with that, I'll still be able to take in a lot of listings, but also making sure that my clients' needs are all met. So that's what I'm looking forward to is working with that new team to meet all my clients' needs.
That's great. A lot of big goals.
Yeah.
You're just gonna keep killing it. Like people are gonna be running like, oh my god, Remi's sprinting, and I'm just like walking.
Well, I remember when I used to be able to sprint. Those days are gone.
Oh really? So for me, I not on the same scale as you yet, so I'm not gonna bring on a photographer and all that, but I do want to have a little bit more work-life balance as well. Um, on that side of thing is I might be trying to hire an assistant, which I've talked to you about and we've talked a little bit about, so that would let me be better at communicating, which is one thing that I want to do more of is more communication because sometimes when you don't have good news, it's hard to say them. For me, anyways, it's hard to update clients and say, hey, like nothing's really been happening with the market, especially with how it was. But I do want to get better at that. So by kind of taking off a load of the paperwork that's like draining in a way, I think I'm going to be able to make that a little bit better and have a little bit more time to be at home or at the rink because at this point I'm never at home. I'm either working or I'm at the rink. So
And like we said, like with that, we just want to make sure that we can give the best service possible to our clients and also put out the best product that we can, especially when those buyers they see everything coming out there. We want to make sure that everything is just top notch. Basically, the big thing that me and Audrey we want to do is we also want to make sure that we're bringing like modern real estate. We don't want to look into 5 years from now and feel that we're like dinosaurs, right? We want to be movers, shakers. We want people to look at what we're doing and feel like, wow, like that's how real estate should be. So that's our goals. We want to thrive
we're
to do
trying
as
to
great as
set
we
the
can.
standard. We want people to expect a certain level of care and attention from us and really implement that wherever they go.
And that brings me back to as I was saying earlier, that's why it's important to get out of your bubble, kind of go to conferences, go to meetings, talk with other realtors, look at whatever other people are doing outside of your area. And, that way you decide what works for you, what might not work for you, and then you transition and you work in that direction.
Yeah, and
But
I actually had some good tips this week. I was in a meeting with our preferred agents network,
yeah,
and they talked about some very good tips that I will share with you because we'll just keep them for ourselves, those ones, because they're really, really good. But that was something that was inspiring where I got a different perspective of how they do business. So that was an agent from Ottawa that shared his tips. And yeah, it's all about seeing them because they're in such a different market. And by talking to those people is how we will make a difference.
now going back to my Connor McDavid jersey, Remax has teamed up with Connor McDavid for the campaign of 2025. So over the next year, you're going to see a few commercials. I know we already have 2 recorded commercials with Connor McDavid. So the thing that's really fun is that we have the best hockey player in the world that wants to work with our company that are putting a marketing campaign together. So over the next year, we're going to see these commercials all over the place, TSN, Sportsnet, CBC, CTV, like anywhere, Canadian broadcast. We're going to get to see all these commercials everywhere with Connor McDavid associated with Remax. So I'm really excited to
There's
see
already, yeah, there's one up that's on the Remax Instagram page. I reposted it on my stories. Super exciting. Honestly, if someone would be like, you're going to meet Connor McDavid when you go to R4, I might just find a way to make it to
Oh,
R4.
geez. Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
for sure.
be, okay, bye.
Yeah. That's it. Imagine if I don't go and then I hear that he went, I'd lose my
I'm going to
mind.
cry.
Yeah, I know.
I will cry.
Now, another thing is maybe not meeting Connor McDavid, but sometime this year, they're also going to do a contest. What you could win is 5 ultimate street hockey prizes. So that is one of the 5 prizes. But there's also a grand prize where you can win a Connor McDavid signed stick and signed gloves. Yeah. So that'd be awesome to have. I could put it with my Cindy Crosby signed jersey,
Start
put
a
it all on my
museum.
wall. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't
So,
think you can win though.
well, probably not.
No, because you're a Remax affiliate.
Yeah, yeah.
So we can't win. He can't win behind the camera because he's an affiliate now.
Mm.
But a lot of our clients can win. So we'll definitely be sure to post it and talk about it when we have more details on that.
Yeah, so keep your eyes open for that contest because as soon as it's out, you'll see me and Audrey posting it all over for you guys to be able to join in and try to win those gloves and that stick. So on the last note, we'd also like to announce like some of our special guests that we're going to try to get this year. We've already spoken about her a few times during this podcast. Our phenomenal broker of record, Marissa Arnold. So when she comes in, we want to kind of get her perspective of what it is to basically run the business in real estate.
But she's also, so even if someone is not in the business of real estate, she's a very inspiring person. She runs a large brokerage and her business mindset is just on a different level. So even just other business people, or if you're just curious, very going to be worth the listen or the watch because she is very inspiring.
Yes. And somebody else that we're going to bring in is Adam Heights. He's one of our managers at our office, but like I like to say, he's a tech genius. I love to watch what he does. It is incredible.
He is, yeah, he's very, very good. The stuff he does with his wife Pam is insane to watch. Like I don't know. If you want to go stalk the guy, like very much worth it.
Yeah. I was talking with Adam the other day about when he's going to come down. He's always wanted to come to Kapuskasing. One of his good buddies told him that they have to actually come in golf in Cap and in Windbeam. So he might actually
we're
try
gonna
to
go golfing.
Oh yeah. So you might
You
try
gonna
to
keep your shirt on this time?
I always do. But yes, when he comes down, and it was when we're going to try to do the podcast, we might actually try to get him here in person, or I don't know, maybe we'll film it at a golf course or something. But it'd really be cool to get his perspective on everything that's tech with real estate. It is awesome how he just loves that stuff. And me, I don't have the time or the patience to learn it, but I do appreciate it.
He's very good in tech, but he also has a marketing background. I don't know if you know this, but I think it's a marketing degree he has.
Okay.
So his marketing mindset as well is very, very impressive. We talked about a lot of stuff today. Amazing gas, interest rates, tariffs, but we have a lot more to talk about in the future. So we are very thankful that you tuned in to this episode of Two Realtors, One Mic, and we cannot wait to catch you next time.
Have a great day, everybody.